Hey guys, Sean here, welcome to the F1 Word and to my Japanese Grand Prix review. First things first though guys, massive apology for not getting a video up in midweek. Basically I was back at work this week, had a lot of catching up to do and wanted to sort of prioritise that this week. So once again guys, massive apologies for that, but normal service will be resumed as of now. Let's have a look at the Japanese Grand Prix result then. It was Lewis Hamilton who took victory for Mercedes ahead of Max Verstappen by just 1.2 seconds. Daniel Ricciardo 9.6 further back in third place. Valtteri Bottas fourth. Kimi Raikkonen in fifth. Esteban Ocon and Sergio Perez. Big points for Force India again. The consistent boys sixth and seventh there. Magnussen and Grosjean. Double points for Haas. That, as you're going to see in the Constructors' Championship towards the end, has had huge ramifications. Felipe Massa taking a final point for Williams, and Fernando Alonso, he finished just outside the points in 11th place. Jolyon Palmer finished his last race for Renault, and probably, if we're honest guys, his last race in Formula 1 in 12th place. Pierre Gasly again consistent. He finished in 13th place today. Stoffel Van Dorn 14th, and Pascal Wehrlein bringing up the rear in 15th because basically his teammate retired. Driver of the day was Max Verstappen with P2, and fastest lap was Valtteri Bottas on a 1:33.144. Your retirements list for the Japanese Grand Prix is Lance Stroll, Nico Hülkenberg, Marcus Ericsson, Carlos Sainz in his final race for Toro Rosso, which is a shame for him, and Sebastian Vettel, and that is where we're going to start. So after the shambles in Singapore and the disappointing reliability problems in Malaysia, you probably thought things couldn't get any worse for Ferrari, but incredibly, a spark plug failure has cost Sebastian Vettel probably, well, let's be honest guys, realistically, any shot now at his 5th world title. It all looked all right. He was starting second. They got him to the grid. They took the engine cover off and had to work on some problems with the car, and it turned out it was just a spark plug. Just a spark plug. It's a pretty expensive spark plug, let's face it. It has definitely cost him that chance at a world championship, and it sort of gave Lewis Hamilton a free run at the race, or it seemed that way until Max Verstappen kind of got involved. We'll stick with Vettel though. He looked absolutely gutted after the race, as you can totally understand. You can totally understand how he's feeling. It must be so frustrating. As I said last time, it's once again another example of Ferrari just imploding. We've seen it. Recent history has just shown that Ferrari are better at losing championships than they are at winning them. It's absolutely crazy. Where these reliability issues are coming from, I have no idea, because they look bulletproof earlier in the season. Whether it is just literally that they push their engines so hard to keep up with Mercedes that now it's basically given up as we get towards the end of the season, because it's just come out of nowhere. They look so good all season, like I say, bulletproof almost, and now it's all just falling apart from them, and Sebastian Vettel has without doubt lost the world championship. If he hadn't lost it last time out, he definitely has now 59 points behind Lewis Hamilton, meaning he can win the world championship in 2 weeks' time in Austin. I mean, what else can I say about it for Seb? I mean, he got off the line all right. He looked pretty decent, and then as the lap went on, it was clear that he was down on power. Verstappen overtook him quite easily. Good old dive bomb down at the hairpin, Kobayashi style. Ricciardo and one of the Force Indias then got past him on the straight. Bottas went down his inside as well. It was just quite clear at that point it was all going wrong, and that was pretty much it for Sebastian Vettel. He was called in. He sat in the car for quite a long time in the garage, about 6-7 laps maybe. Sat in the car in the garage hoping they could repair something, but that was it for Sebastian Vettel. And as I've said already, his 5th world championship is definitely gone because Lewis Hamilton won the race from Max Verstappen. But it was a close run thing. There was some vibrations on. He said power unit. Niki Lauda said tyres. They're kind of looking at that at Mercedes, but there's definite vibration, which really threw Lewis Hamilton in the closing laps. And two of the most experienced drivers on the grid, Felipe Massa and Fernando Alonso, certainly helped by ignoring blue flags, which was not the smartest thing to do. Let's be honest. Max Verstappen just 1.2 seconds behind Lewis Hamilton. A fantastic weekend again for Red Bull, but really it's just the best weekend Lewis Hamilton could have possibly hoped for really in Japan, wasn't it? Smashes the lap record in qualifying, wins the race to go 59 points clear, meaning if he wins in 2 weeks in Austin, which let's be honest, he probably will because that is one of his tracks if you like, Sebastian Vettel has got to finish above 5th place to keep himself in the championship. If we're being honest, if Vettel is reliability problem free, so he gets to the end of the race basically, it's likely he will finish on the podium. So it's more likely that Hamilton will do it in a few weeks time at Mexico, but you never know. With the reliability problems Ferrari have got, he could have it wrapped up by lap 1 or something stupid like that in Austin. So let's hope we're at least going to get a scrap, and at least Vettel can push Hamilton as far as he possibly can. But I think, to be fair, Lewis has just about now done it, and he looked very emotional at the end of the race, and I think definitely starting to sink in that he's on the brink of a 4th world title, and well-deserved as well. A well-deserved 4th world title. He's a very divisive character in Formula 1, is Lewis Hamilton, without any shadow of a doubt. I think we all can agree on that one, but there is absolutely no denying his outright pace and his ability on a track. He is a fantastic racing driver and Britain's finest. Let's be honest, he is the greatest statistically British Formula 1 driver of all time, and he's about to cement that with a 4th world title. And with the greatest respect to Vettel, if Vettel has 4 world titles under his belt, Lewis Hamilton absolutely deserves 4 as well. They are the 2 best drivers on the grid. Maybe Fernando Alonso can come in there and maybe argue that one a little bit, but I think he's sort of coming towards the end of his career now. But for me, over the next 3 or 4 seasons, it is Vettel versus Hamilton. It is going to be absolutely fantastic. fantastic. And hopefully next season, we will get a much closer scrap. I'm already talking like the championship is over. I mean, the constructors is just about done as well. And the drivers is pretty much over. So yeah, I think we can all now focus on that battle for what actually could be second in the constructors championship, because Red Bull have closed the gap massively on Ferrari over this last 2 or 3 weeks. A double podium for the Red Bull boys today. Totally deserves. Fantastic performance. Again, they look pacey. They actually look quick now. You know, usually if there's a wet race, they're up there. If it's something like Monaco or Singapore, they're up there because that's very aerodynamic dependent. They're definitely there now on tracks that are more power dependent. Renault seem to be getting their act together a little bit. The car looks better. The chassis looks better. Red Bull are on the up, and hopefully this is good signs for next season. How great would it be to see Mercedes, Ferrari and Red Bull going head to head for both championships next year? That's what we want to see. Come on, Red Bull, keep it going. Fantastic. Max Verstappen also really bouncing back in the Drivers' Championship as well in the fight in the top 6. Bottas struggled again today. You know, not great for him. He's really come on some criticism lately. 10.5 seconds off the lead today, which is a shame. A shame for him, but he kind of had to jump out the way of Lewis Hamilton, rightly so. He was holding him up at one point, and he did have to recover as well from that grid penalty. Raikkonen, we've already spoken about Ferrari and their problems, but he managed to get them 5th place today, but that's still ground lost on Red Bull. We have to have a word, though, about the midfield scrap. The midfield scrap is getting very, very interesting. Now, I've been focusing on that a lot over the last few videos, but I really need to talk about it today because it has taken a heck of a swing in the favour of Williams and Haas, unbelievably. In terms of Williams, Felipe Massa looks set for points pretty much since the off. He managed to come home in 10th place, as I've already said, in the results there, which is a big, big point for Williams. Lance Stroll, he looked good this weekend, but he had a massive puncture. We think it's a puncture as he was coming through the S's and went off in quite dramatic fashion, actually triggered a virtual safety car at the end of the Grand Prix. But that was actually his first retirement in 13 Grand Prix. Now, given the start to the season Lance Stroll had, it's actually quite incredible that he's gone 13 races without retiring. So I sort of think about the criticism I've given him in the past and think, well, actually, 13 Grand Prix without a retirement, that's actually pretty decent. And he's consistently challenging for points as well. So I think he's definitely turned his season around, and he's probably a talent for the future. Yes, I know, money talks, but we'll just have to see. Hopefully he'll be able to continue his good run or pick up again on his good run from Austin. But Haas, double points for Haas today. And without Toro Rosso scoring and no points as well for Renault, Haas have leapfrogged Renault in the Constructors' Championship to take 7th place, only by a point. But that is a big, big deal. And Renault will be hoping that this Carlos Sainz deal, which I'm going to talk about in a video later in the week, or next week rather, I'll talk about that then. But that Carlos Sainz deal needs to see Carlos Sainz picking up points as quickly as possible, because Renault could be in trouble here. They do not want to finish 8th place. I'm still confident Renault will finish above Haas and probably now Toro Rosso, but Williams are also going to have to look over the shoulder because the French outfit will absolutely fly for them. But Haas are going to be given that huge renewed faith that they've got a half decent car and can maybe, just maybe, challenge for 7th or 6th, even 6th place. Could they get Toro Rosso? That'd be incredible, because I cannot see Daniel Kvyat and Pierre Gasly scoring like Carlos Sainz was just yet. Gasly maybe next year, but he needs more time to get used to the car for sure. But that is spicing up to be a very, very exciting battle in the midfield. It's a pretty decent midfield race as well. The race itself, not really a classic, if I'm being totally honest. Obviously, apart from the opening few laps, we had Carlos Sainz's crash, Marcus Ericsson rather embarrassing crashing out as well. There was a lot of scrapping towards the end of the race between Bottas and Ricciardo, Verstappen and Hamilton. We had all the drama at the start with Sebastian Vettel's problems, and of course a pretty decent scrap in the midfield as well throughout the race, sort of on and off. But it wasn't a cracking Grand Prix at all. Very, very disappointing, especially when you're up at 5 o'clock in the morning to watch it. But it swings and roundabouts in Formula 1. You're going to get a Baku and then you're going to get a really boring race. That is the way Formula 1 goes. It always happens. Every single season has, and we just have to kind of grin and bear it and hope for an absolutely cracking weekend in Austin, which we generally do get. I do enjoy the US Grand Prix, so hopefully that's going to be pretty decent there. Let's have a look then at the Drivers' Championship table. Lewis Hamilton is 59 points clear now of Sebastian Vettel, and as I've said multiple times in this video, that is the championship done and dusted. It is going to take a mammoth effort and a lot of reliability problems for Lewis Hamilton for Sebastian Vettel to turn that around. Valtteri Bottas now just 13 points behind the German. Can Mercedes get yet another 1-2 in the World Championship? Daniel Ricciardo looking very, very good for 4th place now. What an achievement that would be if, given Red Bull's engine deficiencies, Daniel Ricciardo could finish in the top 4 and beat Kimi Raikkonen. That would be an incredible achievement. Max Verstappen, he's into triple digits now, managing to turn around what's been a pretty poor season up until last weekend in Malaysia. He's on 111. Perez still ahead of Ocon. Carlos Sainz didn't score, but he stays on 48 points. Hulkenberg is on 34 in 10th. I can tell you now, Felipe Massa is in 11th place, also on 34 points, just separated on highest finish there. The Constructors' Championship then, Mercedes, as they have been for a while now, they are absolutely gone. Ferrari, though, they do need to look over their shoulders. It is very unlikely that Red Bull are going to be able to pick up those points, but you never know with the Ferrari reliability problems. If they don't turn that around quickly, Red Bull are in for a shot of 2nd place. Force India still absolutely nailed on for 4th place. Williams, Toro Rosso, Haas and Renault, that is where the scrap is for me. Williams Williams 66 points, Toro Rosso 52, Haas 43, Renault 42. That is such a tight scrap. And if Carlos Sainz starts scoring like he was for Toro Rosso in the Renault, he absolutely can make a difference there. Toro Rosso are going to struggle to pick up points with Kvyat back in the team from Australia. What am I about? From America, from the US Grand Prix, and Pierre Gasly's lack of experience. He'll be better next year, Pierre Gasly for sure. He just needs to be consistent to the end of the season. McLaren, they're stuck on 23 points, and Sauber still have those 5. And that's really it, guys. Sorry there wasn't really a lot to talk about in this review. It all pretty much centered around Vettel's retirement and Lewis Hamilton taking the victory to pretty much wrap up the World Championship, but that's kind of where we are in the season now. It's all title-defining stuff. Like I said, we're going to get these boring Grand Prix. We do get some cracky ones through the season as well, so it swings and roundabouts. I'm sure we'll get a better weekend in Austin. Before I go, though, I have to say a massive, massive congratulations, obviously, to Charles Leclerc for winning the F2 Championship this weekend in Jerez. 3 races still to go. A fantastic achievement and a well-deserving champion. An unbelievable season, absolutely unstoppable, and again proved that the weekend. Dominated the race in Jerez. And as I've said countless times this season, that boy has got to be in Formula 1 next season. It looks like he's going to get the seat with Sauber. He's got some practice sessions as well coming up, but he needs to be in Formula 1 next season. Once again, congratulations, Charles Leclerc, a well-deserved F2 champion. But that is it for the Japanese Grand Prix review. Guys, what did you think of the race? Like I say, it wasn't an absolute cracker, but hey-ho, that's the way it goes. And can anybody out there see a route back into this World Championship for Sebastian Vettel? I would love to hear it. That doesn't involve Lewis Hamilton just blowing up every weekend, because that's pretty much what Sebastian Vettel needs. And let's face it, that Mercedes is pretty much bulletproof and unlikely to break down massively between now and the end of the season. I'm sure they'll have some reliability issues and there will be a DNF in there somewhere, or at least a low points finish, but it's very unlikely now that Sebastian Vettel can overturn that lead. I'll be back next week, guys, with another video, probably around Wednesday, definitely no later than that for sure, to quote Nico Rosberg there, but there will definitely be one up mid-week. As ever, guys, thank you so much for watching. I've been Sean, this has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.